Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Two Guys Talking Sports. We took a week off, but we are back for the madness.
It felt weird not recording last week. We've been recording, for just about every week since
football
August.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was weird. Made some good content,
Yeah,
though, while we were out.
There wasn't a whole lot going on
Nah.
nationally. Obviously, there was Gamecock stuff going on, but
Yeah,
not enough to.
And Clemson.
Yeah.
We got to include them.
But March Madness has arrived. It's going to be the craziest 3 to 4 days.
Thursday through Sunday this week is probably I think the consensus, everybody can agree, it's probably the best 4 days in sports because it's just basketball all day.
And there's just no other tournament or anything like this where there's so many teams playing that, back to back to back on multiple days.
Yeah.
Where you just have, and it's honestly who's the hottest at the moment. It's also like you have one bad game as a top seed, and you got a team that's just coming in firing everything they got.
And it's also just can be matchups. Like and there's no tomorrow, so it's if you're a team that relies solely on your scoring, your scoring ability,
right,
and you don't play good defense, well, what's going to happen if you can't score? And there's a lot of teams like that in this tournament this week.
There is.
So we've got some interesting matchups. I'm nervous about South Carolina's. Speaking in terms of the teams that we normally cover, South Carolina and Clemson both have some tough opening round matchups.
They do. Both teams are 6 seeds.
Yep.
I think South Carolina could have been a 5 seed. That last game versus Auburn didn't help them.
But I will be honest, I'm glad we're not a 5 seed because as you will see throughout this bracket selection show, I love picking a 12-5 upset.
We are going to do a bracket challenge as well. The link will be in the description.
Yep. It's on ESPN. If you don't, if you want to search it, just go to if you have an iPhone or an Android, just download the ESPN March Madness app. I believe that's what it's called. Just search Two Guys Talking Sports. It's not a private group, so you can just join it pretty easily and tell them what they might win. We are going to
have, if you finish first in the bracket challenge, we'll do we had the hat out here last weekend or last time we filmed.
Yep.
We'll do a T-shirt, color of your choice, and also a Richardson hat with the leather patch, the Two Guys Talking Sports, color of your choice on that one as well.
Because I want one of them hats.
Well, caveat, if one of us finishes first, it'll go to the next person. Our brackets will be in here.
Yeah.
We're actually going to pick ours live here. Neither one of us knows what the other one has picked.
Nope.
Honestly, I don't even know what I'm going to pick on some of these games. It's just going to be just a gut feeling.
It's honestly a crapshoot. It's something where you can do some form of research,
right?
But until the game starts, you really don't know how it's going to go because it's just simple of you always pick the one or the higher seed, but you've got two teams in one side of the bracket in Purdue and Tennessee who are historically known, maybe not historically, but recent where they don't do that well in the tournament. Like you look at last year, Purdue got put out in the first round.
I mean, you look at Tennessee, even in the SEC tournament. They came in, firing hot, just won the SEC regular season, losing their first game. So, again, in tournament play, I mean, you can play well all year in this. We play on a Wednesday, play on a Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, however. But when you get in those back-to-back games and you got teams that are just, it's win or go home, we're just throwing it out there to see what we got.
And I feel like basketball is the one maybe sport where – like you always see, there's some upsets majority of the time where that can happen. You look at Furman last year against Virginia. It's a lot of these mid-major teams have the ability to advance. And honestly, I'm going to be making some of those picks today.
And here's the thing: is you also got to factor in like some teams they don't travel well. They got teams that play well at home, not well on the road.
Yeah.
And even the teams that do play well on the road, again, you're now in this tournament-style play where you may be used to playing at 8 o'clock at night. Well, now you got to play at 12 or
if you're used to playing on the West Coast,
now you're playing on the East Coast. There's so many different factors that go into, especially the first 2 rounds. I feel like after that, if you get past the first two, you can kind of settle in.
Yeah, because there's a big gap in the games.
We do have play-in games.
I hate this. Honest to God, this is like the wild card series for the MLB playoffs.
Right.
I don't like it. I think
I don't mind the 16 seeds, the play-ins for the 16, but how you go and you play into a 10 seed where you have teams that are at 15, 14, 13, 12, 11 that have locked themselves in.
Yeah.
You know, how are they locking themselves in? But then you have two teams that are playing to jump all of you. Yeah. And that makes no sense. The 16 seeds, I'm cool with because it's like, all right, these are these bubble teams. Couldn't really make a decision here, so let's just let these two teams battle it out and see who gets in.
Well, it's not really bubble teams that are 16. I mean, they're conference champions. They're just in lower tier. And I was watching some shows last night, like bracket reactions, and I think it's all like, especially if it's a 10 seed, I think it varies year by year with what at-large teams get in. You know, if there's upsets in the conference tournaments where a team would normally automatically get this seed. But now that they didn't get it, they didn't win the conference tournament, and then, they're having to get an at-large bid. I think it's for something like that. So I think the numbers usually change outside the 16 seed. I could be wrong.
I still don't like it. Just pick them.
I agree. I agree.
Again, I like the 16 seeds because, like you said, even though they could be conference champions that just don't have the resume, throughout the year just because of the conference they play in.
Yeah.
Let them battle it out to see who gets in that last spot.
Yeah.
But the 10 seed, pick them.
Yeah.
Just say which one you think was better, whether they won their tournament or not.
I agree.
So I guess we need to pick these play-in games to see who's even in the bracket. And this obviously total guess here with these 16 and really the 10s. Wagner versus Howard.
And Wagner versus Howard will play North Carolina.
I'm gonna just throw it out there, Howard.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna.
And then we'll jump over to the other 16, Grambling and Montana State, and they will play Purdue. So I'm gonna go Montana State, just because Yellowstone's in Montana.
Yeah, and these games don't count. I don't think they count towards the bracket.
No. Then we jump to these 10 Cs where they should have just picked them. Virginia and Colorado State, and they will take on... Where is it? Okay, here we go. Texas, down in the Charlotte game in the Midwest. I'm going to go Virginia on this one.
Okay, I'm going to go Colorado State.
Again, they'll take on Texas, the winner. And then we got Colorado and Boise State, who will play Florida.
Funny enough, Oregon beat Colorado in their conference tournament championship to get their automatic qualifier bid. Okay. So it's possible if Oregon, and I don't know if they would have made the tournament anyways, but if they don't win that game, it's possible South Carolina's got a different opponent.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Colorado.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Colorado as well.
All right, and then we're gonna jump back to the East region now that the bracket is. In our minds is officially set. We'll start with the 1 seed.
It's funny about this one before we get started. You've got 3 of the 4 teams from the Final Four from last year in this region. You got UConn, FAU, and San Diego State.
Tough.
In the same region, which they're completely different teams.
Completely different teams, yeah.
Except, UConn, I feel like UConn's the favorite for everybody to win. I think that in our bracket challenge, you're going to see a lot of teams, people picking UConn.
Good for them because I'm not. I'm going to pick them in this first game, though. I got UConn over Stetson. Obviously, number 1 seed, 16. It's happened before.
Yeah.
But it's almost like winning the lottery.
Yeah. I think UConn wins this one pretty easily.
All right. Then we got Florida Atlantic, Northwestern. This bracket's kind of cut off here, so I can't see my seeding.
Sorry, it's
that's 8 versus 9.
Yep, FAU.
Florida Atlantic being the 8. I'm gonna go with Florida Atlantic on this one.
See, the one thing I always struggle with the brackets, and the reason why I probably never win is I love picking upsets.
Can't do that, Kyle.
See, you
can't just go a lot of upsets. You got to get your one.
But see, that's the greatness of March Madness is it's in the term.
Yeah, but that's
madness.
Like hitting a parlay. Trust me, North Carolina opened it up, and it's tough.
I'm going Northwestern.
San Diego State, the 5 seed, is going to take on UAB, who is the 12.
Yep, I'm going UAB.
All right. There's your first upset.
No, at Northwest. I mean, 9-8. There's really not a huge difference.
I don't consider a 9-8 an upset. A
Yep.
5-12, that would be an upset. I'm going to go with San Diego State.
I love a 5-12 upset.
So I'm going to go San Diego State on that one. Auburn, the 4 seed, taking on Yale, the 13. Auburn's hot.
I don't know. You never know with these Ivy League schools because majority of the time they can shoot. They can shoot the 3. But the thing with Auburn is they've got some big boys down low. They're physical. They're coming off SEC tournament championship win over Florida, who is playing some dang good basketball right now. I'm going Auburn. I really want to
go Auburn. Here's the thing: is Auburn just ran through a tournament in a tournament style play, and they played well every game. And sometimes it's just being hot and then getting into that tournament style play. So I'm gonna go Auburn. BYU is the 6 seed versus Duquesne.
The 11.
I'm gonna go BYU. I'm not ready for any upsets yet. You're trying to pick too many upsets.
I know, but
this is a dangerous game.
See, I love an upset because they happen all the time in this tournament.
This is a dangerous game.
I'm going to go BYU. I'm going to go BYU.
Illinois is number 3, taking on Morehead State. I'm going to go Fighting Illini.
Yeah. Illinois won their conference tournament, Big Ten. They beat Wisconsin in overtime, which Wisconsin upset Purdue in the semifinal game. So, yeah, I'm going to go Illinois.
Washington State, number 7 seed, taking on Drake. I'm going to stick with the favorites here, Washington State.
I think they've done a pretty good, remarkable turnaround. I think they have a new head coach maybe because they're talking about him and South Carolina head coach Lamont Paris being the coaches of the year. Yeah. I'm going to go Washington State.
And then you got Iowa State, the number 2 seed, coming off a huge victory over Houston.
Dominating win.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is like all your number 1 seeds, I don't think won their conference tournament.
UConn did.
Okay, so 3 of the 4 lost their conference tournament.
North Carolina lost in the semifinal in the final to NC State. Who was playing some hot basketball.
Tennessee lost their first game, and then obviously Houston lost to this Iowa State team who playing well. I'm going Iowa State.
All right,
let's jump back up. We're going to go second round here. UConn. I've got UConn taking on FAU. I got UConn moving forward.
Yeah, I got UConn as well.
San Diego State versus Auburn, and that's who I have. You have UAB. Correct?
Yep.
I got Auburn moving forward.
Yeah, I do too.
So that'll set up an Auburn-UConn Sweet 16. I have BYU taking on Illinois, with BYU being the 6, Illinois being the 3. I'm going to stay with Illinois on this one.
You know what? I'm going to go BYU.
He's calling another upset.
Let's do it.
You're playing a dangerous game here.
That's why I love it, man. That's why I love it.
Washington State taking on Iowa State. I got Iowa State.
Yeah, I do too.
They're hot right now. So that sets up the Sweet 16 matchup in the East. Let's bounce back up. We got UConn, the number 1 seed, taking on Auburn, the number 4 seed. At least we both do.
Yeah.
This is where I'm calling my upset. I got Auburn taking down UConn.
Wow.
I think Auburn's really hot. I think they can shoot the 3 if you need them to, but like you said earlier, they've got those big bodies down there. And, dude, they're huge. And they move the ball so quick. They move it so well, and then they can just get it to those big guys. And, again, if they need to, they can hit the 3.
It's going to be like the matchup of the Mad Men coaches. You got Bruce Pearl at Auburn, and I think it's Danny Hurley at UConn. It's the Hurley brothers confuse me. Let's see who the UConn.
But I just think that Auburn's playing – I mean, obviously they're coming off a tournament-style play where they've just – pretty much dominated every team that they played in the SEC tournament. And look, the SEC's got 8 teams within, in March Madness, and they've been one of the top conferences all year in terms of top 25 teams consistently throughout the year. And for Auburn to just kind of run through that tournament,
UConn, I think, has been the consensus number 1 team all season.
Good for them. They'll go back to lose.
I don't think so.
So you got UConn.
Yeah. Yep.
Then we got Illinois versus Iowa State. I think this one will be a great matchup.
You've got Illinois versus Iowa State.
I've got a 2 versus 3. You got a 6 versus 2?
Yep.
I'm going Iowa State.
Yeah, I'm going to go Iowa State as well.
So that sets up the Elite 8 matchup.
I'm guessing you're going with Auburn.
No, I'm going to go with Iowa State making it to the Final Four.
Wow. I'm going with UConn.
So I got Iowa State in my Final Four.
So I got UConn in the Final Four out of the East region. You've got Iowa State out of the East region.
Yep. All right, so we'll pause there, and we'll jump down to the West region. We'll start with North Carolina. I got North Carolina beating Howard.
Yeah, I've got UNC.
So I got UNC here. Then you have number 8 Mississippi State taking on number 9 Michigan State.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Michigan State.
Yeah, I don't. Oh God, I think I'm gonna end up going with Mississippi State just because they've been a bubble team majority of the season. It's crazy how their record to me doesn't really reflect what a normal 8 seed is.
Yeah.
They beat Tennessee pretty convincingly in the conference tournament in the SEC. I'm gonna go with Mississippi State.
They beat Tennessee in the regular season as well. Mississippi State did.
Yep, and they gave Kentucky a hard fought game, lost last minute. I'm going Mississippi State.
There was a lot. Those 8 teams in the SEC that made it. Again, there were a lot of great battles within there because you got down to the regular season. The second to last game, when South Carolina played Tennessee. And there was a chance that there could have been a 5-way tie for the regular season champion to the end of the year. So, there was a lot of great games within the SEC.
Well, when Tennessee beat us that last game, we went from being the 2 seed to the 6 seed or 5 seed. Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Michigan State.
Yeah, all
right. And then we got St. Mary's, number 5, taking on Grand Canyon. I'm going to go St. Mary's.
Man.
Come on, Kyle. You cannot pick every 12 to beat every 5.
I'm telling you, man. I love them. I love them.
You can't get stuck on that 12 is going to beat the 5 4 times. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
If nobody scores higher than Kyle, they got to give us a T-shirt and a hat.
Yeah.
I'm going to go St. Mary's.
He's going to pick the 5. All right. Then you got Bama taking on College of Charleston.
Why do they call them just Charleston? I can't stand that. They're the College of Charleston. It's one thing if it was Charleston University or Charleston College.
Yeah.
It's the College of Charleston.
I don't know.
Needless to say, I'm going College Charleston.
You're going College of Charleston over Bama. Wow.
Yep.
He's stuck on this.
Pat Kelsey. Dude,
I'm going Bama because I'm not an idiot.
Charleston's good, man.
I'm not saying that they're not, but you're picking way too many upsets.
I'm telling you, man.
There's going to be upsets.
These are.
You've picked like 6 upsets in the first 12 games.
I'm telling you, man. Telling you.
All right, then we got Clemson, number 6, taking on number 11, New Mexico. I got the Tigers here.
I got New Mexico.
Another upset.
Telling you, man.
If your bracket does hit, it will truly be March just insanity madness. The way that
do you want to do a side bet? Who has the? Since you mentioned at the top of the show, if me or you win this bracket challenge, we'll pick the next one.
Right.
Do you want to do just a side bet just with me and you who finishes higher?
Yes.
Get a free bet?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll come up with something. But yeah, we'll do a side bet. Baylor, number 3, taking on Colgate. I'm sure Kyle is going to take Colgate here to number 14.
No, I got Baylor.
I'm going to go with Baylor.
I'm going Baylor. It's just normally the 5 to 12, 6 and 11s.
But you've picked every 12 and every 11
for some reason,
so
the 4 13, you'll see a couple upsets every now and then.
We got number 7, Dayton, taking on number 10, Nevada. Here we go. I'm taking Nevada here.
Ooh.
This is in this game, or this region is the Salt Lake City. So technically, you got Nevada that's playing pretty much with it. They're not traveling far.
Yeah.
So that's beneficial to them. And Dayton is out of
Ohio.
So they got to make a little travel here. Nevada doesn't. I'm going Nevada here.
Normally the playing games are played in Dayton.
Yeah. Then we got number 2, Arizona, taking on Long Beach State. I'm going Arizona.
Well, you didn't ask me who I wanted to pick.
Who you got here?
Yeah, I got Dayton.
There you go. Now he doesn't pick the upset.
John just doesn't like the committee.
Arizona, number 2 seed, taking on Nevada. Long Beach State, number 15. I got Arizona. You going to pick that upset?
No, I got Arizona winning.
All right, let's bounce back up.
But they're one of those teams that always mess up in March, too.
They are. Second round here in the West region, I got UNC taking on Michigan State. Yep. You have them taking on Mississippi State. I got UNC moving on no matter what. See,
the thing is, like, I guess sometimes why I always not do so, I don't always win, but a lot of these upsets that I have in the first round, I don't have them moving on to the Sweet 16. So you technically don't lose that many points. It's all about you're trying to get the big points early and then knock them out. See, the games you lose, it doesn't really matter if they're out the next round. It's if all my team, my region winners make it, it's really not that big a deal.
So
majority of the time.
All right, then I have St. Mary's taking on Bama, and you have
St. Mary's College Charleston.
And I'm gonna go here. I'm going Bama's moving forward, beating St. Mary's.
I got College Charleston.
God, you got College Charleston all the way into Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever we bet, and just go ahead and give it to me.
All right.
All right, Clemson taking on Baylor. At least that's who I have.
I got New Mexico versus Baylor.
I've got Baylor moving on.
And the only reason why I didn't pick Clemson is not because they're our rival. Clemson, kind of like South Carolina, they kind of limped into the tournament.
Yeah.
They got beat pretty convincingly by Boston College in the ACC tournament in the first round matchup.
Yeah. And Clemson, too, they were really hot to start with. They went through like a inconsistent, and then they would hit some big wins, and then, like you said, they're kind of limping in, the same as South Carolina.
To be honest with you, I don't think Clemson fans want to win. I think they're tired of Brad Brownell. Yeah. They want him gone.
The thing is, he keeps doing just enough, kind of like Frank Martin did.
Well, Frank Martin only made the tournament one time.
Right, exactly. I've got Baylor moving on either way. Who you got? You Baylor. Got Baylor actually making it to the Sweet 16. Then I've got Nevada versus Arizona. Again, this was in Salt Lake City. You said it. Arizona doesn't. I'm gonna go Nevada.
Wow.
Here's another upset.
This is a good area for them to be upset.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Arizona though. I'm gonna go Arizona.
All right, Sweet 16 in the West region. I have North Carolina taking on Bama, in which I have North Carolina moving forward.
I do too.
And then I have Baylor, Nevada. I think this is where, at least for me, Nevada's run ends and Baylor moves forward to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I got Baylor beating Arizona.
And then, so we both have UNC Baylor in the Elite Eight. I got UNC going to the Final Four.
I don't know.
Scratch that. I got Baylor.
Oh, man.
I got Baylor.
Yeah, I got Baylor.
So that would set up at least for me, an Iowa State Baylor Final Four matchup. For you, that would be
UConn Baylor. So
right, we'll get there at the end.
Yep.
All right. So jumping over to the South. Let me get up here so I can make sure I got everything right. Houston, the number 1 seed, taking on Longwood 16. Houston did lose that last game, but this is going to be no matchup for them.
But Houston, I don't know. I'm picking Houston to win, but they're
he wanted to pick.
No,
he wanted to 16.
They're just. I don't think they're going to make it very far in this tournament.
Yeah. 8-9. I got Nebraska, Texas A&M. Nebraska 8, Texas A&M 9. I got Texas A&M here.
Fred Hoiberg's the coach at Nebraska now. Who did a dang good job in when he was at Iowa State. I don't get why in college and basketball and college football where these professional teams love getting these college coaches that never translates majority of the time unless you have prior professional experience. Needless to say, I'm going to go with Nebraska.
All righty. Here comes that 5-12 again for Kyle.
I'm going JMU. I'm going James
Wisconsin,
Madison.
number 5. JMU, number 12.
Here's the thing.
I'm going Wisconsin again.
James Madison started out the season very good. I think they've got the most wins in college basketball. Wisconsin started out very hot this season, kind of faltered throughout the season, had a big run in the Big Ten tournament, ultimately lost to Illinois. I think that James Madison's just going to be too strong.
But here's the thing: the Big Ten. When you think about what Wisconsin faced throughout the year versus what James Madison faced throughout the year,
This ain't football. It's one thing if a team
it's still
like,
matchups.
It's like Purdue's got Zach Edey, who's just like a 7-2 perennial scorer. But basketball, man, it's if you can shoot, you can shoot. It don't matter who you play in.
Well, that's true.
Or if you can score. Yeah.
Do you actually think there's going to be 4, 5, 12 upsets?
Yeah.
No, he picked the 5-12 in the West. You had the 5 in that one, didn't you?
Okay, 3, 5, 12 upsets.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, we still have Gonzaga and McNeese State to pick.
Right. All right, so then Duke, number 4, Vermont, 13.
I think it's going to be a tough matchup for Duke.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Duke is they're this 4 seed. They've been ranked in the top 10 all year long. They have one top 25 win. That they had 2.
Yeah.
They had one that actually finished the season within the top 25. Their other one was at the beginning of the year when Michigan State was ranked 18th or something like that. They beat Michigan State, but then Michigan State, 2 games later, they fell out of the top 25 and they never made it back in.
Yeah.
So Duke has one top 25 win that actually finished the season within the top 25. They lost to North Carolina 2 times. I mean, who is their big win? I've got Duke winning this game.
Yeah.
But
that's the reason why they're the 4th seed. They haven't really been they're not the typical Duke team that you're used to seeing. They always, a team's always going to regress.
New coach too, who doesn't have. I mean, they were in the tournament last year and lost first round.
No, I don't think they lost first round.
Lost second round. So he's 1-1 in the NCAA tournament play. So not a ton of experience coaching in this tournament style play
as a head coach.
Yeah,
I mean, he was on Duke's staff.
But he's the main guy now.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a lot different being an assistant and gaining some experience versus, all right, you're the main guy. So
yeah.
And then in the ACC tournament, they lost first game.
Mm-hmm.
So
which they had a bye. So,
still lost
it was
their first
the quarterfinals.
Right.
So, yeah.
I do have Duke moving on here, but I don't have them going far.
Okay.
So I got Duke beating Vermont. Then you got Texas Tech, number 6 versus number 11, NC State. Here's my upset. NC State is flaming right now.
See, but the thing is they've got a week off. I'm going to go with Texas Tech.
NC State they were the first team to ever win 5 games in a row to win the ACC tournament.
See, if they were playing like tomorrow, I would probably take NC State, but they've got NC State plays. Hold on. Let's see what day they play. I think they'll play Thursday.
So 5 days off of competition play. Obviously, they're practicing.
They play 9:40 on Thursday.
Here's the thing: is for NC State, you're not thinking about this either. This game's in Pittsburgh. It's just kind of a little hop, skip, and a jump for them. Texas Tech, they're traveling. They're making a haul here. So you got a hot team that's not making a long travel versus Texas Tech, who's got to make that travel.
Yeah.
One thing that even if NC State comes out and they're not, just shooting and playing exactly how they still have the confidence coming in this game just because of what they've done.
Yeah.
I got NC State. Kentucky, number 3, taking on Oakland, who's number 14. Kentucky's been kind of hit or miss this year. Even the games that they've won, it was kind of a battle.
And excuse me, in kind of recent years, Calipari his teams haven't really done that hot in the tournament. Excuse me.
He's about to die again.
I mean, we record in the mornings. I don't know what y'all want from me.
I got Kentucky beating Oakland though.
Yeah, I do too.
Then you have Florida, the number 7, taking on who I have, Colorado.
Yeah.
I got Florida moving on here.
Yeah, I do too.
Marquette, number 2, taking on Western Kentucky, who's the 15 seed. I got Marquette.
Yeah, I got Marquette. Shaka Smart.
All right, let's bounce back up. Houston, Texas A&M. You said it earlier. You don't have Houston going really far. Me either, because I got them losing to Texas A&M.
Yeah, ooh, I'm torn. I'm gonna go Houston.
Got Houston moving forward. Then I have Wisconsin versus Duke. You have James Madison versus Duke. I'm gonna let Duke. They're gonna make it one more. So I got them in the Sweet 16.
I really want to pick James Madison. I do, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna go with my heart and say Duke.
I have NC State versus Kentucky. You got Texas Tech, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I got Kentucky moving forward here.
I do too. This is a game I think we might differ on. I don't know though.
Florida versus Marquette. This is tough because Florida's played well all year.
I'm going Florida.
They've played well all year, and again, even though you say it doesn't matter, it's not football. They've played in a very tough conference where they've pulled out some big wins.
Yeah.
They've had some tough losses. They made it to the SEC championship game in the tournament, so they've been playing well in the tournament play.
Yeah.
I'm going Florida.
Yep.
So, Sweet 16, I have Texas A&M versus Duke.
Kind of backed myself into a corner because I didn't want to pick Houston to go this far, and then I don't think Duke's going to go this far.
I don't either.
But I don't know.
I don't see Houston or Duke being in the Elite Eight. But here, like you said, I've kind of backed myself in here where I've got to pick.
Yeah.
Which I don't have Houston even in this game.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that Texas A&M can beat Duke.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm gonna go Duke getting to the Elite Eight here.
I think I'm going to end up going Houston. I think coaching experience goes a long way in these tournament games. And I think his name's Kelvin Sampson's been coaching a long time. John Shire still kind of new to the head coaching game. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to go Houston.
Kentucky, Florida, in the Sweet 16 here. And I'm not sure what they did against each other off the top of my head in the season, which it doesn't really matter now that they're in this tournament play. Let's see.
They beat Florida by 2 points on January 6th and then lost 94-91.
So they're 1-1.
Yep. And they're all close games.
Yeah, I'm going to go Florida here.
I'm going to go Kentucky just on the fact coaching experience. I think Calipari really needs to prove himself.
Yeah.
Kentucky gave him a lifetime contract, so apparently he's going to be there forever, which I think is stupid because he's won a national championship, don't get me wrong.
A long time ago.
South Carolina's made a Final Four.
Since then.
We've made a Final Four more recently than Kentucky has. But I think
this one could be either one. And I think that whoever does win this game, I've got Florida, but I think whoever does advances to the Final Four.
Yeah, I'm going Kentucky.
I've got Florida, but again, caveat, I do think that it could be Kentucky. I don't think that whoever's in that top bracket up there or the top portion of this bracket, they're not making it. It's either going to be Florida or Kentucky making it to the Final Four.
I agree. Yep.
All right, so let's bounce down the Midwest region. We'll start Purdue, and I have them taking on Montana. I'm going to go Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue.
8-9 here. Utah State versus TCU. Let's see. 8-9. I'm going to go TCU. I'm going to go with the 9 seed.
Yeah, I don't think there's much separating these two. No. I'll be honest, I haven't watched them play all year, but I'm going to go with Utah State.
We got a 5-12. Kyle's favorite seed matchup. We got Gonzaga number 5, McNeese number 12.
What's crazy is that some people were saying like this might be a year Gonzaga might not make the tournament, and here they are as a 5 seed.
I'm going McNeese.
Oh God! See, Steven, I'm going.
Force his hand out of this 5-12. I'm going to pick the upset.
I'm going Gonzaga.
I'm going to pick the upset.
Mark Few, it's like I said, it's coaching experience. I think goes a long way in these tournaments.
Yep.
Mark Few's been there tons of times. I'm gonna go Gonzaga.
Kansas, number 4, taking on Samford, number 13.
SoCon champion.
I'm going Kansas.
I think Samford can upset them.
Pick them then.
I don't know.
Pick them.
I don't know. I'm going to go Kansas.
And here we go. Are you going to pick head or heart here? South Carolina, number 6 seed, taking on Oregon. I don't know a whole lot about Oregon. to see what their style of play is.
We have Oregon's got Jermaine Quiznard. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Who played at South Carolina under Frank Martin. This game's in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. So you got Oregon traveling. We're just so much an enigma. I don't know which team is going to show up.
Right.
I'm still going South Carolina.
I am
Don't
too.
get me wrong.
I'm giving them at least one.
But I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous.
Especially because the last time we saw them play was that just and listen, some teams just have your number sometimes and they know how to play you and just dominate you.
Yeah.
And Auburn obviously knows just how to beat South Carolina.
Yeah.
They beat us 40 the first time and 30 the second time.
Us
and
against
here's the thing
teams
is,
in Alabama just didn't go well this season.
And you really can't just say, like, oh, South Carolina's an awful team because they lost big those two times because they've won huge games and then they've won the games that they should have won as well.
It's also our downfall because I feel like that's why we weren't ranked as high as we thought we should have been all season. Because, we were winning games, but there's some games we should have won that we lost, which we allowed that comeback win late in the season against LSU.
Yep.
The 3 big losses to, 2 of them being to Auburn, 1 to Alabama. I just don't know which team's going to show up. Yeah. It could be the team that showed up against Tennessee and Kentucky when we beat them. We smoked Kentucky at home. I know the Tennessee game was a little bit more closer.
Even the Tennessee game at home to finish the year off could have won that game.
Yeah. I like our defense, though. Like, we've got really good defense. If we don't have to score a ton of points, but, Michie Johnson and Talon Cooper and BJ Mack and Colin Murray Boyles have to show up.
Yeah.
Especially our guard play. Your guard in this tournament, your guard play has to show up. If your guard play doesn't show up, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Because when we went on that big run, this is our first tournament since we went to the Final Four in 2017. And guess what? We had damn good play from Sindarius Thornwell, Dwayne Notice. And honestly, I think we would have made it to the national championship game.
Had he not got sick.
Yeah, had Thornwell not been sick against Gonzaga.
For South Carolina to try and make a run here, like you said, you have to have that guard play. You have to have Michie Johnson have that Sindarius Thornwell type of run here. And he can do it. Here's the thing. If he gets hot, he can do it.
Oh, yeah.
He's been, he was obviously LeBron James's protege. He's trained under him some. So if he gets hot, and he gets to rolling, he can lead this team to some victories here. Yeah. I'm not saying they're going to make it all the way to the national championship, but they can win a few games if Michie Johnson gets hot.
I agree.
If he's cold, because here's the thing with Michie is and Lamont tells him to do it. He's going to fire it.
Yeah.
Hot or cold, he's going to take those shots. So if he's hot and he's hitting them, you can run. If he's cold, he's still going to take those shots. And here's the thing is that he can get hot. So Lamont tells him, just keep shooting it.
Yeah.
Because even if you start the game cold, you may get hot.
He's even effective when he's driving in and kicking out or dishing it out.
The good thing about Michie is when he is hot, he knows to pull and to shoot. And he knows, all right, if I'm cold, I'm going to continue shooting, but let me dish it out more. Yeah. Let me draw the attention and then dish out.
Yeah.
So as long as he can stay within his game, I think South Carolina can win a few games. I think it's all determinant on Michie.
Yeah, I agree. It's guard play. It's you got Jacoby Wright as well. Yeah, those 3 have to show up.
Yep. All right, then Creighton, number 3, taking on Akron, number 14. Here's the thing. You got a 23-9 team versus 24-10 team. Again, conference play, who they play throughout the year. I've got Creighton winning this game.
I do too.
Texas, number 7, and I have them taking on Virginia. I got Texas winning.
Yeah, I got Texas.
And then the number 2 seed, Tennessee, taking on St. Peter's, number 15.
I got Tennessee.
I got Tennessee. Jumping back to the top, Purdue taking on TCU. I got Purdue moving forward here.
I do too, yeah.
McNeese, and you have Gonzaga taking on Kansas. I got Kansas moving forward either way.
I think I'm going to go... I'm going to go Kansas.
And then you get back here, South Carolina taking on Creighton, a 6 versus 3.
South Carolina. I'm going to
go South Carolina. Again, I think if Michie's hot, they can make a little run. And I'm not sure Creighton's conference. I just think Even though you don't like it, I still think that the matchups that you've played all year, even the games that you've lost, kind of set you up to play those tough games.
Yeah.
Because outside of the three games against the Alabama schools, Alabama and the 2 versus Auburn, South Carolina's been in pretty much every game that they've played.
Yeah.
They could have won or should have won the games that they've lost, and then they've beat big teams. So they know how to play the tough games.
Yeah.
They have the defense.
Creighton's just always just there. Sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, and then I just think they have the defense. And again, if Michi's hot, they can make a little run.
And Creighton's always they've got a long time coach in Doug McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
They're good, but they're not great. They don't. I think we're going to win. But another thing about it, like I said, it's coaching experience, and Lamont took Chattanooga to the tournament.
Yeah.
One time. He's a long time coach under Bo Ryan at Wisconsin. He still didn't have a ton of head coaching experience in the big time games like this. Doug McDermott does, but needless to say, I'm going to go South Carolina.
Yeah. And then you got Texas versus Tennessee.
I got Tennessee.
I got Tennessee as well. All right, jumping back up. Sweet 16 here. Purdue, Kansas. I got Purdue moving forward.
Yeah, I do too.
And then we have a rivalry matchup here. 1-1 against each, 1-1 against each other. South Carolina beat Tennessee at Tennessee. Tennessee beat South Carolina at South Carolina.
I'm going.
South Carolina could have beat Tennessee in that last game
at home.
I'm gonna go South Carolina.
As much as I'd love to.
I think if they're hot enough to beat Creighton, I think they can go into a team that they beat and should have beat.
Yeah.
And a team in Tennessee that pretty much hasn't played their best on the road.
Yeah.
And they didn't play well at all in this tournament style play. They were the number 1 seed and lost in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go South Carolina.
I picked Tennessee. I just think, like I said, it's scores. You got Dalton. You got Dalton Connect. That's the SEC Player of the Year. He can score.
He can, but he can also go cold because that's what he did.
I understand that. I just think
if they play Tennessee the way they did the first time, even with Dalton Connect being hot as fire because he was hitting all night long.
Yeah.
But they pretty much just said, fine, let him hit. We'll just shut down everybody else. If we can shut down everybody else, he can't score 70.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to go Tennessee. I'm just going Tennessee.
All right, so Elite Eight. I've got Purdue versus South Carolina. You got Purdue versus Tennessee.
Which is crazy. At the top of the show, I said these are 2 teams that normally screw up in this tournament.
I'm going Purdue. I think the run ends there for South Carolina.
I'm going Tennessee.
You got Tennessee in the Final Four.
Yep.
All right. So, Final Four. Iowa State versus Baylor is what I have. You have UConn versus Baylor.
And I got Kentucky, Tennessee on the other side.
And I got Florida, Purdue. So we're completely different outside of Baylor. Baylor's the only team we got in the Final Four.
This is where you make it up.
All right, I am going.
What's on the left side of the bracket? Who you got?
I'm going to go Iowa State.
Wow, okay. I'm going UConn. Going UConn.
So you got UConn, which is your only number 1 seed, making it all the way to the national championship. Then I've got Purdue, Florida. This will be my number 1 seed, making it. I got Purdue winning this one.
Wow. Okay. I think I'm gonna go Kentucky. I'm going Kentucky.
Going Kentucky. So you've got Kentucky, UConn in the national championship game. I've got Iowa State, Purdue. So we got completely different teams here.
I'm anxious to see who you're going to pick.
I'm going Purdue.
Oh, boy.
I got Purdue winning it all.
I've got UConn going back-to-back. They're going to pull a Florida.
I'm just still trying to fill this bracket out here online.
Oh, you're doing it online? See, I'll do it later.
I just came in here fresh. This is all off the top of the dome.
Me too.
Well, I know. I'm just saying I have nothing online here, so I'll fill it in later. So I have Purdue winning it. Again, everyone fill out your brackets.
Yeah.
It's going to be easy to beat Kyle. He's picked so many upsets that are not going to hit. His bracket will be screwed day one.
Like I said, though, but these upsets that I have, have those, excuse me, those teams going far. So even if they don't win, it's all about the teams you have winning, how far they go. Because if they don't make it, if the team I had winning in the first round and they lose, and that team that beat them loses in the second round, at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. Now, it's if these upsets that I do pick and I get it wrong and those teams end up going to like the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16, that's when you can get in trouble.
You've picked a lot of upsets. You could be in trouble day one.
But at the end of the day, that Final Four.
Yeah. All right, so make sure you guys fill out the brackets. We'll be following along, obviously, throughout.
We'll put it on our Facebook page, Instagram page, X page. That feels weird saying that. I feel like I'm trying to say XXX.
It's Twitter.
But yeah, it's going to be on Twitter /X. The link we'll make sure it's in the description of this episode. It's free to join. Like I said, nothing but upside. Get some free merch, colors of your choice.
Yep. All right. So let's move on real quick. Just do a little wrap up of other topics. Clemson baseball, they keep rolling.
That was a big series win to beat Duke.
Yeah.
This weekend.
So you got Clemson taking the series versus Duke. They didn't sweep that one, did they?
Duke won Friday night, and South Carolina. Clemson won Saturday and won in extra innings on Sunday.
South Carolina dropped the series to Ole Miss, and I think you're not as quite there yet as I am. But Kingston needs.
But here's my thing, man. At the end of the day, it's on the players to produce.
It is.
And when your two best hitters, when you can't score, when you have runners in scoring position, and your two best players coming into this year, Ethan Petry, Ole Messina, are basically non-existing at the plate in these big-time matchups, it's just not going to happen.
I agree.
But
here's the thing.
He's been here a good minute.
Okay. And from his first season on, that has been the issue. We're not a situationally good baseball team to say, all right, runner on third, just get him in. It's always, if we're hitting home runs, we're going to win. Yeah. If we're not, we're going to lose. And that has been his team throughout. And even, we talk about the pitching. And, it's going to be the best pitching staff they've had. And not to say that they've been bad, but the thing is they can only limit teams so long. And when you can't score, and that's been your MO your entire stint here, it's like when
we're struggling.
Right, but eventually you have to say it's on the players to produce, yes, but at some point it's got to be coaching, because no matter who the players have been or talent level or whatever, this has been his MO his entire stint. We can't score runners on, we're not good situationally, and it's really irritating because the teams that won the national championship, that's what they were the best at. Yeah.
But I mean, it's also hard. You're not going to get another Ray Tanner. That's the thing. And, I know it's something, we're used to and we should expect, not necessarily making it to the national championship series in Omaha. But, I can live with going to the Super Regionals. I mean, and not necessarily going to the College World Series every year, but you need to make it because we have that tradition. But the thing is, when Ray Tanner left and we kind of took like a dip down under Chad Holbrook, these other teams in the SEC just got dang good. Yeah. And, I don't think Ray Tanner hired the. I don't know. It's hard to pick who's gonna be a right hire. Like, I know people wanted us to hire Kevin O'Sullivan from Florida after we fired Holbrook. He was never coming to South Carolina. It's who you going to hire. And that shouldn't prevent you from making a decision. But to me, especially in baseball, it's on the players to produce.
It is.
But
you got to coach them to get there.
I understand that.
You got to coach your player to, say, hey, we got a runner on third here. Let's just choke and poke. Don't try and get the 2-run home run. Don't try and just hit it as deep as you can.
That's what college baseball is.
It is, but here's the thing. It's like the best teams, they produce situationally, and it's because the coach works on that. They drill it in them. Hey, we don't need here, run on third, just push it the other way. Get the run in. Do whatever it takes. And we're just not that team.
Yeah.
And they haven't been for 7 years. So that's my gripe with him.
Really, it's been the issue since Tanner left.
It has.
It is.
And the other issue is he never acts like anything. It's all okay. We're going to be fine. We lost the series to Clemson, but I'm more worried about conference play. You get to conference play, you lose the first series. Like, well, it's just the first series.
There's still a ton of baseball left.
There is, but it's always like the nonchalant, we're fine. But the thing is you're not. You haven't made it to the College World Series yet.
But I guarantee you, he's not having that conversation with his players, though. You can't come out. Here's
a good thing about
you can't come out as a coach and just publicly rip your players. It's just not.
You don't have to rip them.
That's not how college works.
You don't have to rip them, but you can. You don't have to mention anybody, but you can show some passion. Beamer, like it or not, or Dabo, like it or not, when he comes out, he shows you how he truly feels.
Yeah.
If this is how Kingston truly feels, it's just always nonchalant.
But the thing,
I can't trust that he's actually going into the locker room and ripping them.
But 2 days later, Beamer always apologizes.
But that's fine. He showed you that emotion.
I'm just saying, like
he showed you though that it matters.
And I know it matters to Kingston because I guarantee you he probably lights into his players.
Well, it ain't
in the dugout. It's not
because for 7 years nothing has changed.
So I mean, we made the Super Regionals last year. We just faced Florida. The
thing is South Carolina is kind of the same way that Clemson fans are about football. Is that you want it? Mm-hmm. You've experienced what it feels like to win it, and you did it back to back, and you could have done it a third time. So it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. What happened since then. That's the expectation now.
Yeah, and if Tanner was still the coach, I would understand the gripe. It's
7 years.
I get it, but it's just we were always going to take a step back.
But we took the step back with Holbrook,
mm-hmm.
and then we made the change there. So you're supposed to be what fixes the step back.
What honestly, if we wouldn't have made the Super Regionals last year, honest to God, I think Kingston would have been gone.
So if he doesn't make Super Regionals this year,
I don't know.
He's got to be.
I mean, we hired that.
Excuse me. If he doesn't make College World Series this year. That's not going to happen.
I don't think so. We just hired that pitching coach who's probably one of the best in the country. I don't know, man.
We keep saying this.
I'm just saying, like, it's if we don't make the College World Series, I don't think he's gone. But it just depends.
So we're going to go into year 8 and say the same thing, and then we'll go into year. But
I mean, if he makes it to the Super Regionals, I mean that's essentially reaching the Sweet 16 in the basketball. I'm just saying, like, that's not a we always want to go there, but at the end of the day, if we lose in the Super Regionals, that's not a bad season.
Okay, so let's just bounce back for just a second. You have South Carolina playing in the Sweet 16 game in basketball.
Yeah.
If Lamont Paris doesn't even make the tournament next year, you're not going to say, "Oh, well, it's still a good season." We can't. It's got to be the same thing with baseball. Like, we got to progress. It's fine that you've made it there. Now, how do you go forward? Because if you can't just keep saying, "All right, well, we got there," or "We got close," eventually you got to push over the hump, or either say, you can't do it. 7 years is a long time.
No, I'm with you.
And we haven't been back to the College World Series since what, 2013?
I don't know.
2012?
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if we fire him, but it's at the end of the day, who do you hire?
That's for Ray Tanner to figure out.
Yeah.
He's a national championship. Hey, listen, and he's figured it out with basketball. Speaking of basketball, Lamont Paris gets a contract extension, which I think is well-deserved. He took a team that was completely different culturally than what he has as the culture now.
Yeah.
He took a team last year to won, 11 games?
Yeah, I mean, but anytime, you fire somebody, I think majority of the team left. Either they followed them to UMass or they went to different schools.
I think this year proves what kind of coach Lamont Paris was, because even though his first year wasn't spectacular, he took that same team pretty much, added a few pieces.
But that's the beauty of the transfer portal, especially in basketball, because with basketball compared to like football and maybe even baseball, you don't need 15, 20 players to come in. You just need 2 or 3 to come in, and it completely can change the landscape of your team.
Right.
Luckily, Michie Johnson stayed. He was here last year.
Right.
What didn't go the way we wanted, but Lamont really revamped the team. You know, you had Murray Boyles come in as a freshman, BJ Mack coming from Walford, Taylon Cooper coming in. So it's all the pieces he's brought in. And honestly, us doing what we've done only increases the likelihood of people coming here as a transfer destination.
And I think that just, again, that speaks to who he is as a coach and how he coaches. Again, I think that he's the type of coach that he can chew them out, but he's also immediately right there. Yeah. You know, being cool with them.
And the thing with Frank Beamer is if you do one little thing wrong, you're out of the game. I don't know. I enjoyed Frank, but like you said, kind of talking about baseball, he never really capitalized off that Final Four run in 2017. You know, and I think our athletic administration's gotten smarter, seeing all these football coaching changes that have come along. Yeah. Lamont definitely deserved that pay raise and extension because he's now in kind of the same pay range as the rest of the coaches, but it also increases his buyout if he goes to a bigger school. Right. So we're not kind of left high and dry if he leaves. And he did turn down Ohio State.
Yeah. The women's tournament will start this week as well. Yep. I got South Carolina going the whole way.
Yeah. Well,
that was a tough bracket to go through. I kind of went through it before you got here. I got South Carolina taking on LSU in that rematch of that SEC championship game, which was just a fiasco.
But honestly, I think it's got people excited for women's basketball. Yeah. Like you want to see stuff like that. And I don't like when they say, you know, it's kind of like the movie A League of Their Own where they expect the women's game to be completely different than the men. Yeah. People wouldn't bat an eye if that was like that happened in the men's conference championship game. No. I like the fire. It makes it, that's why you want to watch it because honestly, and especially women, you don't see a lot of upsets. Right. You know, you're not going to very rarely see a 12 beat a 5 or a 13 beat a 4 or a 14 beat a 3. It's pretty cut and dry.
Most of the Final Four.
The top teams are going to be there.
Yeah, now, most of the time the Final Four is a 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah, like a 3 may beat a 1 or a 4 may beat a 2 or whatever. But it's usually the top players or top teams in the country that are going to make it. So you'll probably see Stanford, South Carolina, USC, LSU, Iowa. So I think the thing that helped South Carolina this year, the women and it was a weakness last year, was the 3-point shooting. Right. And Staley, whether it was with the freshmen or the transfers, have addressed that issue. And one thing with our opening round game, which is not a big deal because they've played without her for a couple of games this year, was Camila Cardoso. Right. She's suspended due to all the stuff that happened in the LSU game. But our ability to shoot the 3 and the depth we have, I think this is our year to get a national championship.
Yeah. One quick thing about that whole fight situation was immediately after the game, South Carolina won the game. Dawn Staley could have been celebrating with her players. Half of them were in the locker room. Yeah. All except for the 5 that were on the court. She immediately apologized for what happened. Yeah. You know, said, you know, this isn't who we are. Obviously, like you said, they're a fiery team. They're playing a championship game. Emotions are high. Yeah. Things happen. And I honestly, it's not the outcome they wanted. Yeah. And then on the flip side, you got LSU's coach who comes out and she's just like, well, she wouldn't have done that to Angela Reed. Just apologize for what your team did as well. Yeah. Like, here's the thing is, I think that it culminated in that fight because LSU, they're a dirty team.
The refs let it kind of get out of hand. Like I want to watch games where like refs don't call ticky tack fouls. Right.
Like there were some that were bad.
Yeah, and it's the refs set the tone of the game early. Yes, when they maybe allow certain things to go. And
you got Angela Reese who's throwing elbows, and it's just a common foul.
It's Angel Reese.
But you got her throwing elbows purposely. I mean, she's nowhere near the ball.
Pulling hair. You
got all these things happening. Yeah. And the thing is, if you watch the video, one of the refs just gets out of the way of the fight. Yeah. And she's the one who's not calling the fouls all game. You let it get to this point and then you run away.
Yeah. But I don't think there's anything she possibly could have done.
Get in there and break it up.
Yeah. But let it happen. People were already there breaking it up. Yeah. So I mean it was unfortunate it happened, but I like it. I mean I like seeing the fire.
Here's the thing is like Cardozo did what she did, probably don't
you see the
want it to
brother?
happen in the outcome.
Did you see the brother of one of the LSU players?
Yeah, he should have just sat down because she
once
would have whooped him too.
Once he got to her, he's like, "Ooh, boy."
Yeah, that's a tall girl.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was the brother of the girl that started it. The fact that she didn't get ejected.
That's what makes no sense. That's the whole deal with this situation is like only one person got ejected, and yes, she was the person that retaliated.
Yeah.
They always say it's always the second person, but you sat there for 15 minutes and reviewed the footage, and you saw what the girl did to start with. She should have been ejected as well.
Yeah,
let's just be fair about it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is they weren't the whole game, and that's why it got to that point where Cardozo finally just said enough of this. Like, we've had enough.
Agree.
So
she didn't want none of him. That's a scary girl.
I think that for women's college basketball, they want LSU South Carolina national championship.
I don't think LSU's going to make it back. They're just not a very deep team.
They'll face to get there. They'll end up having to face Iowa, which I think that'll be another hyped up game with Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. The rest of that LSU team.
Yeah,
pretty much two aggravating teams in college women's basketball. I've got LSU taking on South Carolina and South Carolina winning.
It'll be. I haven't looked at the bracket, unfortunately. I was going to look at that.
It's a lot
today.
of one making it through. I think LSU's the only one I don't have.
I'm assuming South Carolina and Iowa are on the opposite sides of the bracket.
Yes.
So I've got South Carolina, Iowa.
Okay.
In a rematch from the Final Four last year, and I've got South Carolina. Because I honestly think if you can, it's impossible to do it, but if you can somewhat limit Caitlin Clark and just focus on the other players, like
again,
she's not gonna make every shot.
Right. It's kind of like connect with Tennessee. If you just say, all right, let him get his, let's just shut everybody else down.
Yeah.
You can beat them.
Yeah. So
fill out your brackets.
Yeah.
We'll see who's right. Kyle's not going to be because he's picked way too many upsets.
Just saying.
But if they hit, y'all can just forget it. It ain't going to happen though. If all those things start hitting, go to the store, buy you a lottery ticket, make some money. So make sure you fill out those brackets.
Yep.
Obviously, I think we'll be back to the first and second round will be done.
So we'll review
Sweet 16.
the first two rounds.
Yep.
And then preview Sweet 16 and pick who we're going to go to the Elite Eight.
Right. We'll still have our bracket, obviously, but we'll have a fresh one once we know who's actually in there, and then kind of roll from there as if it never happened.
Cool.
All right, so we'll see you then. See you next week.
Thank y'all.